Greetings, this is Dr. Gregory Fink. I'm chair of the Council for High Blood Pressure Research, now the Council of Hypertension of the American Heart Association. And we're here in San Francisco at the scientific sessions of our council. And we wanted to give people who are unable to attend the meeting this year in person an opportunity to hear about some of the really interesting and exciting science that's presented by our council members. And so to do this, I've recruited a number of attendees at the meeting and intend to interview them, ask them a few questions about the science that they have seen or heard at the meeting, and perhaps give us a taste or a flavor of what one can expect when one attends such a meeting. So I'm going to begin this session with Dr. Richard Wainford, who's at Boston University. And I just want to start by asking Richard, who's of course, a hypertension investigator, to tell us a little bit about some talks or posters or discussions he's heard at the meeting that particularly interested him. Richard?
Well, thank you for the opportunity, Greg. It's a very interesting dynamic meeting, and I think one of the best things about the meeting this year is the introduction of the moderator poster. It's brought the poster session to life, it's made it more dynamic, and much better interaction with speakers. I was fortunate enough to moderate one of those. And one of the most interesting posters I had was a poster by Colin Young from Cornell University, a junior faculty member moving on to George Washington University. He's doing some excellent work focused on no control of blood pressure, and I think his techniques and the area that he's working in are very interesting. He's going to be a future leader in the years to come. It's a pleasure to interact with the junior investigators at this meeting, and I think that's a great asset and a strength. So any junior investigator listening, this meeting is a wonderful way to interact with leaders in hypertension research, such as Greg and our award winners. And it's also a great way to network and meet new people, new colleagues. I've made multiple collaborations out of this meeting because, Greg, we are now having a paper together as a result of our interactions and conversations. And so this meeting is essentially a gold mine. And it's so valuable in terms of interactions and the pure science you get from your award lectures and your lifetime achievement winners, and having the opportunity to interact and have coffee with them and learn from them. It can't be valued. It's a fantastic opportunity.
That's a great insight, Richard. I'm wondering, you're a good networker. I happen to know that. Do you think the average younger investigator here feels this is a meeting that facilitates for them the possibility of the kind of interactions you're talking about?
I think that the American Heart Association, through the Training Advisory Council or Committee, is doing a great job of trying to introduce junior investigators. And hopefully we'll hear from Dr. Trask, who is the chair of that committee. They're building a mentoring network, and they're trying to facilitate the interaction between senior investigators and junior investigators, and it's what needs to happen. We need to protect our young. I always feel that I'm only where I am thanks to your influence in part, and for multiple other people. I was mentored very strongly, and I want to pass that on, and that's been a pleasure. I'm an active member of the International Society of Hypertension. I've actually been elected to that time to the council. Congratulations. Thank you. And so I'm trying to promote the ties between the International Society of Hypertension and the American Heart Association. It's a world of an opportunity to have to take advantage of. 2 years ago, when I first went to an International Society of Hypertension meeting, that now, thanks to the networking and the experience I've gained, I'm part of the council. And it's very pleasurable to be in this position, and I want to pass it on to junior investigators. So I promote my students, I promote postdocs and fellows, and I personally think some of the work that's done for the great mentees, they have to train workshops to be brought in and expanded this year. It's a beautiful opportunity for trainees to learn techniques and build and expand their knowledge and actually interact with the leaders who did this, not just reading it in a paper or reading it in a textbook. And I think that can't be beat. It's a great meeting for this.
Richard, thank you very, very much for coming to speak with us and offering your insights, especially on the opportunities that the meeting makes available for younger investigators, which of course is a major goal for organizations to enrich the experience for them. So thanks again for coming and talking to us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure, Greg.
Thanks.
It's my pleasure to sit here today with Dr. Aaron Trask, who is the chair of the Trainee Advisory Committee. So I'd like to ask you, what do you think the highlights of this meeting have been? What are the key things that stood out to you since you've been there?
Richard, there are several things that I'm sort of proud of being the chair of the Training Advocacy Committee for our Council on Hypertension now. First of all, we had a couple of very nice how-to sessions. The first one yesterday was on how to create an individualized development plan, given by Dr. Philip Clifford, and that was very well attended and very well received, especially now that the AHA is requiring those, including those in the fellowship applications. Today's how-to session was focused on how to build support for science and sort of lessons in effective communication. We've also had a training-specific poster session that was very well attended with an on-site poster competition. So we had a great deal of participation in that. And on the science side, I've gone to several very interesting talks. One especially today from the University of Florida, where they actually gave adipose-derived stem cells isolated from normal rats, and they gave those to spontaneously hypertensive rats, and it completely reversed the hypertensive phenotype function of cardiac function. So that was a pretty impressive study with our sessions.
That's incredible. I think the work that you do in mentoring junior investigators is fantastic. How would you say that your science or your program has been developed or you've gained by attending this meeting with Have you seen anything you picked an idea of, something that's triggered in direction for your work?
Yeah, so this council is my scientific home. I started off in this council as a graduate student now almost 10 years ago. It doesn't seem like that long, but it's always been my scientific home. I find the best interactions here and the best networking opportunities that I would agree. And going and talking to folks at posters and going to the conference at their talks and being able to ask questions to some of the nice oral sessions that we've had. It triggers ideas. I work on some extracellular matrix stuff, and there was a talk on an enzyme that processes CGF-beta. And so that might lead me to go back and look at that particular enzyme in my image. So it's definitely influenced both my own science for the better and also the network.
So somehow that means working on that before you spend your time talking to that. Thank you really proud of that. Thank you.
I'm here with Dr. Dylan Berger, who is on faculty in the University of Ottawa in Canada. Dr. Berger, what did you find interesting at our scientific sessions today?
So there's two presentations I found really interesting. The first that comes to mind was a talk actually yesterday by Dr. Berger. She's in Virginia, and she was looking at profiling microparticles in hypertension. So microparticles are cell fragments that release when cells stress. And so looking at them in plasma samples sometimes can give you some really profound insights into what's going on in the body in a relatively non-invasive way. And she was looking at all the populations of plasma microparticles and showed that the leukocyte-derived microparticles seem to correlate best with an angiotensin-dependent hypertensive phenotype, which really links quite well with a lot of immunologists' work we are seeing more and more in the field of hypertension. The other thing that was particularly impressive about that is she's really pushing the technology in the field forward with their imaging flow cytometry, and I thought that was particularly interesting. The other talk that I really thought was interesting was by Katrina Bigner. That was earlier this morning. She was looking at salt's influence on macrophage phenotype, and showing that a high salt diet actually inhibits the quote-unquote protective M2 macrophages. Again, another way in which the immune system may be influenced negatively by the diet in this case. She really delivered a fantastic presentation.
Great. It sounds like that you've attended several interesting talks. So I know, Dylan, that you also serve on the International Society of Hypertension Investigators. We've done the training advocacy committee has partnered with their committee in promoting training activities here. Do you think that that's been effective? Do you think that our interactions have been effective for training?
I do. I think especially the combined work in pushing the training agenda is really effective. I think it's been very well received. I think we always like to do more, but I think that we had a fantastic session in advance. It was very well attended, as you say, very well attended. And it's the third time we've done that, and I think it's good for young investigators as well to think both locally and globally sometimes with the research, and by doing this partnership.
Great. Well, we look forward to continuing that and expanding upon that. And it's been great talking with you.
Thanks. And I'm speaking with Cam McCarthy, who's a PhD student from Georgia University, and we're going to talk a little bit about some highlights from the session for the hypertension topic. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. Cam, can you talk a little bit about some things that struck you as particularly interesting at the meeting?
so far I've really enjoyed training post-session. It gave me a great forum in which to promote my work, and experts in the field of hypertension came around with some very helpful and directed advice on how I should proceed with my project. And I found that really beneficial. Another thing that I found really good about the meeting with the trainee advocacy committee mixer was very enjoyable and a great way to meet other trainees from different universities and the same stage of career.
Yeah, the trainee mixer has always been really a highlighted meeting, and certainly for myself and for many others, I think it really meet peers. And this year, I think a particular highlight was the commitment of the senior faculty to be involved as well. Do you have any experience being able to network with the senior faculty as well?
Yeah, it was really nice to see them there, meet them on a social level as well as a science level in the meeting itself.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Karen.
Nice to go.
Yeah, I chair the Training Advocacy Committee for the Council on Hypertension, and I'm here with Dr. Javier Loria, who's going to talk to us a little bit, I think, today about a how-to session. Did you find the how-to session particularly interesting?
I guess it's particularly interesting for young investigators, fellows, early-stage career scientists, because it brings you a sense of what is really important in your career development, how you have to approach, how you have to study your science, communicate to others, to the lay public, to the viewers. I guess it's had a great outcome this morning, and although the sessions are coming along, we're still having fellows interested in
Sometimes it's hard to get them out of bed at 7 a.m.
We may need to have to review after the next survey, coaching sessions.
So speaking of the mixture, we have a training advocacy mixer every year, and this year was a big hit. We had junior investigators mixing with senior investigators and singing karaoke. Did you have a favorite part or a favorite song during this?
Well, everybody's been great. And it's nice to see after the editorial board dinner coming over all these established investigators and really mingle with the really young ones and, exchange a little bit of body movement.
Yeah.
Other things because it's very loud music.
And it's a great networking event, I think, for both peer-to-peer networking for junior investigators and also peer to mentor to senior investigators.
Yeah, it really helps because it's a quite relaxed environment and you see your reviewers or the PI in a very different setup or environment usually. And in this way, sharing a beer, sharing other, like some dance, something, it really brings people together and a little bit helps to, easy interaction after the
I totally agree. That's the point of it. Well, Analia, thank you for your perspectives. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
My pleasure to be sitting here today with Maria Delvin from the University of Campinos, and I'd like to get her perspective on the meeting. What is it that you found to be most useful and beneficial for you during the course of the last few days of the meeting?
Okay, so it has been a really great opportunity for this international interaction with other labs and to share our results and also to learn with this spectacular meeting.
Have you made any specific connections with international people? Are you aware of the International Society of Hypertension, which can facilitate these international connections, which is partnering with the American Heart Association, multiple events that have going on with the trainees?
Yes, it's very important to be here in this field. I have researched and collaborated with Aaron Trask, and it was a really great opportunity to share our results, and also I met some great researchers in the biology and vascular biology field.
So would you recommend meeting the junior investigators?
Yes, for sure. And actually, it's my first time at this meeting, and was really fantastic.
Well, I'm very glad you had a great experience. I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.